Welcome to Tattoo Shop Talk, weekly web show about random chit-chat and conversations and all that stuff that happens in the tattoo shop, obviously, and we sharing our experiences with you and you. And today we will talk with this gentleman about technological progression and evolution and what sort of technology and all that stuff have helped us in our personal experiences to make our work and everything around it better, easier, and more.
Or worse.
Or worse. Bam! Today we have this lovely gentleman. What's your name, my friend?
Janis.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You've been here before.
for
Okay.
the last 8 years.
Let's talk about what we have heard from back in the days, and we can't really imagine now, or we can imagine, but that would be kind of like, oh my god. So first thing in tattooing that comes on mind,
Stencil machine.
stencil machine. Yeah, stencil machine is a big deal. There's few of them. Some people like one or some people like another. But hand stenciling seems like a thing for like maybe realistic guys.
Yeah, definitely.
And even them dudes know their tricks in
Yeah,
Photoshop.
there are some tricks, but probably none of the serious realistic tattooers use them.
Yeah,
I think so. I guess.
And when it comes to like oh gods, thank for this this machine is when it comes to all that geometrical stuff.
Yeah, I remember hand stenciling like a mandalas and then, can you make it like 5% bigger? And then it's like 40 plus minutes to draw it up again.
Come back in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. All I remember, like doing a stencil by hand and realizing that, shit, it should be mirror view, and then it's like another half an hour. If you have like a busy schedule, then it's a nightmare.
Can mess up your day big time.
Yeah, definitely.
Or like a flash event, we did like 85 tattoos. Without stencil machine, it would be like maybe 50 or something.
Like 5 minutes for each stencil.
Yeah, add to it. So
I remember like when in our shop in Riga, we used to have no stencil machine, and then we had this guy starting working with us, and he had worked before in a shop in Chicago, and so he comes to the shop and he's like, "What? You don't have a stencil machine?" And we're like, "Yeah, man, we don't need it. It's okay." And he's like, "Fuck, how it's possible, And then when you get it, even the cheapest one, and it's the one we still use, after a week or so, you cannot imagine working without it.
had one guy, he said he was, I don't know the shop, and that doesn't really matter, but they didn't have tattoo stencil machine. He asked owners, like, you're not considering getting one because it's a very useful tool, and the owner was like, I don't want my tattoos to be lazy. I was like, how about them being efficient, maybe?
Proactive, efficient.
But yeah, and stencil machine and stencil paper. But if we look into history, which I'm no expert on, but I think there was tattooing also without stencil paper. I mean, you started freehanding stuff, but I heard about those powders and stuff.
Freehanding was like the obvious only thing because I didn't know that like a stencil paper exists. And then when I got the first one, I was like, oh, this is easy,
This is all right.
Yeah, because when you do it freehand, you do the lines and you're just like, you're super afraid not to like
Wipe them off.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the old days, like the acetate stencils.
What is that? That's
I
like powder?
mean, I'm not gonna try to pretend that I understand completely everything about it, but it's the stuff that you cut out and on a plastic stuff. Okay, I'm not gonna even try to explain,
It's those flashes we see behind
Yeah, exactly.
behind the glass in
the
the
Sailor
convention.
Jerry stuff and all that, they used acetate stencils. There are some shops now who actually like as a tribute to tradition, they take like all those old acetate stencils and they do the tattoos with them, But it's still, you have to be really careful not to, wash wash the lines away, the stencil away.
So stenciling did a big progression
Yeah,
from what
definitely.
we experienced, and even before us, it was ooh.
What I've seen some tattooers are thinking about now is that like they would love to have like a bigger stencil paper, like rolls of it, or just like at least like A3 format or something like that.
I think you can buy a roll, but you
You
can't.
but you cannot find anything
Sleeves.
wider than like A4, I think.
There's a no, ours is A4, but I worked in a shop with A3 stencil machine, but there was no.
I haven't seen any.
It's the gray one. They always sell black and gray on suppliers, but there's no sleeves and no A3 stencil paper.
The
so
one
you
we-
have to stitch them, and
the
I've
one-
seen also rolls.
The one we use at the shop is like, it's not like A3, but it's a little bit longer, and it's this is the one which is really cool for the half sleeves, because you usually like A4 is a little bit too small for half sleeves, so that one is really good. You don't have to stitch two stencil papers together and ruin one of them. So
Yeah. Them I think don't work on our thermal copier because there's that sleeve is different size. But
Maybe.
whatever, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
technical thing.
it's just like the plastic case should be a little bit bigger, and that's it.
And also for stenciling, stencil stuff and like stencil stuff. By stencil stuff I mean all the stencil stuffs.
Yeah, because I know a lot of tattoo shops who use just like
Dettol.
Dettol, and I love the smell of Dettol. That's like the essence of a tattoo shop for me when I smell Dettol. But I haven't used Dettol even once in my life.
I worked in a first shop. We used Dettol. That smell brings back memories, but I wouldn't like to inhale it all the time.
No, I
it
mean
has something to it, but anyway, like also there was even now still some suppliers sell speed stick deodorants in the stencil
Yeah.
section.
What I mean with Dettol, as I understand, there's like a couple good things about it. One of them is that you can actually apply it on top of the stencil with like
Right.
some
Even a tissue, just
yeah, which is like a cool thing for kind of back pieces or like some complicated sleeves or something like that. I've never tried it once, but I've seen people do it.
but you can do
But-
the same with stencil stuff.
No, not really. It doesn't go through like the stencil paper that good.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the thing that scares me about Dettol is that it seems too liquid for me, and it dries really fast. Maybe I haven't worked too much with it, so I don't know anything about it. I've used like stencil stuff for the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and I'm okay with it. So like, don't
Like-
fix anything that's not broken.
We used Dettol, and when we were ordering first bottle of stencil stuff, we were like, I hope it's not same Dettol in
Ah.
a different bottle.
Okay.
And when we got it, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
this is nice.
Yeah, because it's really cool. And I've never had any problems with stencils washing off too fast or something like that, you know. Usually you also just let it dry for a few minutes. I personally don't do it. But I don't know, it holds okay for me, you know. And as I said, you know, I think there's probably a lot of different stuff, like hundreds and thousands of
There's
different
that
stuff.
spray
Yeah.
you spray onto like
Yeah, but-
markers or something.
But just what I said, you know, I mean, like, I think there's like a lot of stuff that's just like whatever, you know, it's basically the same stuff, just on different packaging or just like some.
reinvented or
Yes,
rebranded.
yeah, exactly. You know, I've used stencil stuff, I like it, so I just actually I don't try to search for anything else. Maybe it's wrong, I don't know, but I like it, and I think, yeah, there's like tons of unneeded stuff in all the supply shops and all everything, you know. But
There's also a lot of stuff that it's like maybe additional extras, but you can live fine with them.
yeah,
But if like someone's giving them to you, you're like, no, okay, whatever.
yeah, and also probably if you try it like once and 2 times, 3 times, you get used to it, then it seems okay. I don't know.
What else in stenciling department? There's a lot of it just one stenciling department. Markers? No, there's the
I
Sharpies
don't
are
know.
still like I think the
Yeah,
top
the
notch.
Sharpies. The only reason, or okay, maybe one of the main reasons that why I don't do freehanding stuff as much as I would love to, is that it's not holding good enough for me, you know. If I would find something that makes the Sharpies, you know, last for longer on the skin, I would definitely do way more freehand stuff.
I heard that stencil whatever spray
I tried it.
does it, but it's one of those things that you have to follow instructions, you have to spray it,
I
you have to leave it for 10 minutes, like spray again, then pray to the sacrifice a cat.
I tried it. It didn't work for me. I probably did it wrong, so that's it. I put it away and that's it. It's still on my shelf. I haven't used it since.
It only works on a full moon.
Maybe.
Another thing which is issue for my hygienic eye is when people buy like some branded freehand markers, stencil, super stuff, and they reuse it after they used it on a tattoo in action.
I mean, you start the outline, and when you do something on a freshly tattooed skin in the middle of the process, you just throw it away.
That's all gone. Or autoclave. What can be autoclave?
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's people like, this is my best favorite marker. And
I'm not touching the open skin.
Yeah. It's just no. The line is there, and then
yeah, I mean. Yeah, fuck it.
Back to hygiene. Yeah, that's a different story. That's back to basics. So wow, yeah, okay. Designing tattoos. So that's before stencil. Designing piece. For example, did you know that there's such thing as internet?
What?
Yeah, you can see like pictures. You can see
it's
pictures.
Google.
Google. You know Google?
Google, the mother of internet.
Yeah. You can see pictures of stuff and you can bring to your tattooist if you're customer and you can say, I like this, I don't like that. And like if you want a tattoo, you can also type in not like only owl tattoo, but you can skip the tattoo and you will see like owls.
Real.
Yeah. Like you can add drawing and you can see different positions and stuff. It's amazing. It's like you should try it, but be careful. It's overwhelming.
Addictive.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of naked butts, and then it's like, oh, what do I do now? But yeah, I think like back in the days, and even I'm not like preaching about history of tattooing, but like it was like you want a tattoo, you go in the shop, and it's catalogs. It's designed like all these flash sheets and stuff like that. So 15 years ago, it was way different than it is now. And now you can come in like even with your little pocket computer machine and like, look what I found. Do something for me. Back in the days, it was like, can I get this? Like, yes, but only this size.
Yeah, I remember like back then I didn't understand anything, but I remember sitting in a tattoo shop. There's a lady sitting next to me, and she asks like the person at the counter like, I want a rose tattoo, and she brings out the catalog with like stencils that has been probably already done, and like, okay, we have this and this and this and this, and I was like, okay, I'll choose this one. At that time, I didn't understand what it is because I was just getting my couple of my first like professional tattoos back then. First time at the shop, like, wow. And now it looks weird. I mean, like, I think about that's a weird thing, when you show someone like stencils that already done.
Yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
But that's a thing, and that's like now even with all that like Pinterest and stuff, like.
Yeah, I used Pinterest for the first time like a month ago.
Love it or hate it, but I have opened like.
No, it's
so much more because there's like those boards of collections, or people can be like.
No, it's a really good search engine, I think.
Yeah, or like 20 tattoos for siblings, which is all those ideas that you could never think of, or like tattoos for short girls. I don't know, like for boys with big bank accounts or something. Like you can have all those options and you can find ideas you could never think of, or if you just not into thinking, that stuff can help you big time to do some homework, because
I've used this as a search engine, and it's really good because sometimes people bring you photos of something that's unidentifiable, or it's really hard to identify what it is. And then I've used like Pinterest to actually search what's like the original resource of the photos, and then you get to the bottom of it, and then okay, that's like an
Yeah,
angel.
when they come in with the
whatever.
screenshot.
Yeah, something
from-
like that.
It's a screenshot of Pinterest picture that their friends send them on the Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, it's all cool, but still it's the same rule as like in any book or flash book or whatever, just use it as a
Reference.
reference,
Also Pinterest, if you getting deep diving into pinning your interests, like if you, for example, doing realistic stuff and all that statue references, you can make your own board and pin all those statues. So if you need, you just anytime log into your Pinterest, you're like, oh, look, I have shitloads of angels and Greek statues here.
You have way more experience in
Pinning
Pinterest.
your interests.
We shouldn't probably dig too deep into all the internet thing, because probably if you're watching it on YouTube, and if you watch like this tattoo shop talk thing, you probably know a lot.
Designing tattoos, photo editing, like just any like Photoshop like things, like back in the days it wasn't a thing.
I knew Photoshop before I started tattooing.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of tattooists who's using
I was designing my electronic music cover art with the Photoshop.
okay. I think that's a big improvement, and that's very helpful tool. And for those tattooists who haven't discovered it yet, it could also save a lot of time, as well as stencil machines and all those things. And it don't have to be Photoshop, because Photoshop is just.
I mean, probably when you begin tattooing all these things, doesn't seem so important. Probably because you have way more time, and when you're
and way more other things to worry about.
I mean, like when you get more experienced, and when you get like the clientele and all that stuff, you have less and less time. Yeah, and time is an issue, and all these things, you can basically do good tattoos without them, but as a time saver, as a efficiency thing, it just like saves you a lot of problems, I don't think when I think about all these things, I don't think that they're like necessary for tattooing, but it helps like unbelievably.
There's that saying, you can run into flip-flop, but some good running shoes help.
Yeah.
Like these red ones. On that note, sometimes, like for my inexperience, for example, sometimes I'm like, no, I'm just gonna redraw or trace it, because like I can do maybe the same thing in the Photoshop, but then there's maybe something can get confusing. So when I'm not sure, I'm like, I'd rather go over it with the pen and then do the stencil, because just so I know what's going on.
Yeah, if you're beginning, then it's cool to do like that.
Yeah, it's just to be sure.
Yeah, hand stenciling, all the stuff. It's also helpful when you're beginning.
So digital technology, iPads, that's a thing now. Like in last year, I've just seen like all of tattooists except me getting iPads and not complaining about them, being like, oh, I was sort of but when I tried it, it's a.
I was the same, I was against it, like drawing on a tablet or stuff. It seems super weird, but as I said again, like me personally, I have a pretty hectic schedule with a lot of people and a lot of appointments, and everything that saves me time is worth a fortune for me, So I was talking about the iPad. I would never probably like accept it as a final step in creating an artwork. I mean, like I would never put a painting that's been done in iPad. I would never put it on a wall in a frame, because it doesn't feel real to me,
Unless you're some poster artist or something.
Yeah, but still, it's completely something different when you paint it by hand and paint it with like real colors and like brushes and all that stuff. It's completely different value.
Also, the digital stuff just doesn't feel real.
Yeah,
like in terms of.
I had to get used to it. Like for a first couple of days or first week, it seemed that it actually takes more time to do it on iPad than actually on paper. But when you get used to it, it's 100% faster, you know. And also, like, this, when you think about it, you don't use like any paper. For me, personally, one of the hardest things sometimes is like when you get home from the work, and actually one of the hardest things is actually getting prepared to start drawing, you know, to print out some references, you know, to
Set
just
up your
like set up the
space.
station, set up the light table and all that, you know. It takes time, it takes effort. Sometimes I just like, that's the hardest part for me. And now I can sit in the sofa with my wife or whatever, watch some movie, and at the same time I can start drawing it up, you know. I don't need any papers, I don't need any setting up. I don't use like shitloads of paper I don't need, you know.
So you're environmental now.
We
Apart
probably-
from what
probably-
happens with
Yeah.
iPad factories.
Yeah, we shouldn't go
That
deeper
way.
in that theme, but I'm super satisfied with the iPad. And as I said, you know, I don't use it as a final step
Yeah, it's
in
a-
creating art.
Designing tool.
Yeah, but as for preparing tattoos, as drawing tattoos, it's one of the most efficient things I've ever used.
Plus all that internet thing and all the clouds where you can get pictures, access, send them, resend them, and copy and layer and whatnot. That's just
Yeah, it's easy to change something. It's easy to show it to the clients, to change something on the spot, you know.
even with that thing where you put a picture of a back, of a shoulder, of a foot.
Yeah, exactly. For cover-ups or whatever, you know. And
Because don't underestimate that other people lack a bit of that imagination or they don't have experience. So sometimes
Yeah.
you show them a sketch and they're like, whoa, I can't imagine how it's gonna look on me. Then
Yeah,
you throw that
definitely.
shoulder underneath and they're like, oh, wow,
hmm
flot.
yeah, and that's, as a time saver, it's unbelievable. I cannot imagine actually working without it now. As for also going guest in on any guest spot or anything, you don't have to have your PC with you or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
you just-
or our guest artist just now, our colleague said, he's like, now he have iPad, and he said before that it was all those pens, pencils, brushes,
Yeah.
drawing papers, tracing papers, and all that stuff. Now is just this one 12.9 inch situation. If any of your girlfriends don't like you to buy iPad, just make them watch this. Another thing on the digital age, what have changed from even like 5-10 years ago, is portfolios. Like everyone was going into shops and like, can I see your portfolios and stuff? Now if somebody asks, I'm like, I can't remember where those pictures are. Like we have folders, but it's like, there. But everyone's browsing Facebook and like,
But still, I would love to go to any shop and have,
touch stuff, yeah.
touch-
Or on a convention. It's so nice, and instead
Fucking,
of
I don't like when in the conventions you have like the iPads in the front.
yeah, you just have to stand there like. But when you can flick through and be
Yeah.
like, that's good. Everyone's like, check my Instagram, you know, and check my whatever Facebook page. Nobody even keeps the, oh, this is me on Facebook and this is my tattoos.
Mhm.
It's either a page or something like that. It's very digital.
I don't know. It's the same thing like why people still are buying tattoo magazines.
Or reference books.
Yeah, whatever. You can find reference books. A lot of the stuff you cannot find anywhere in the web.
You can find many if you
No,
know.
but still, I think like 80% of it.
If you're
it's
good,
not-
if you're good pirate.
Maybe, but still, like why people still are buying tattoo magazines, because it's a completely different feeling when you still hold it in your hands, you know. I mean, and that's the same for me with the portfolios. If I go in a shop and the only thing that they have is like, can I see your portfolios? Like, yeah, you have to check out this like iPad or with screen, whatever, you know.
Here, check it.
I don't like it. Maybe I don't understand anything, and
Well, you're also one of them who probably don't understand people who send voice messages on.
oh, yes, I am.
No, I mean, I don't get it, but I understand why it's there, but I can't. I just can't. And it's the same with flash books. Like, I just can't be fucked with all that, like looking for the pictures. But if I have a book, I'm like flick through it. I'm like, oh, I want to see what can I do with this. But if I'm like, also I just like on internet, I'm getting lazy. I'm like, well, I might just copy it into Photoshop. I might just not trace it. I might just, it's there, whatever.
You can do it, but still, you should have like real old style portfolio on the table somewhere on the counter.
And same thing is something about having flashes from tattoos. Just the fact of getting them feels kind of like,
Yeah, that's a completely like separate whole part of tattooing culture. Swapping the flashes, changing like sending to someone.
if someone pulls just some like, oh, I open the shop, I'll pull off some flashes of internet, put them on the walls, you're just like, what a dick, man. Like, who does that?
Nah.
Let's ask you, my friend, what you have found the most helpful stuff in this technological progress, either it be stencil stuff, iPad, or whatever. Just let us know down there. While you're writing, you click that subscribe button, that like button, and share your experiences. See you in the future episodes. Couple fish.